cat in the wall, eh? Okay, now you're talking my language.
Do you ever drunk Baileys from a shoe?
Oh, great. Thanks, Mother, for replacing the baby aspirin with LSD.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountain?
Welcome into the View from C-Deck. I'm just Matt, and I'm ready to fight off some Tennessee volunteer invasions as we get ready for Saturday in the Shoe. First ever 12-team college football playoff, first round, first college football playoff games on campus. You two are going to be in the building, so I'm going to set it off to you right away. We'll start with the Haas. How you feeling coming into Saturday with the Vols coming in? Buckeyes 7-point favorites.
Yeah, that's a interesting line. I think they're two evenly matched teams. I think like two pretty similar teams, you know, and with regards to defense and the offense kind of lacking identity at times. Yeah, I mean, biggest question marks I think for me is like how the crowd makeup's going to be. Like, are these rumors about I still think it's going to be majority Buckeyes, and hopefully it's a good showing. The cold weather, there's a lot of, I think, outside variables here that could influence this game, considering it's a home game.
Direwolf, how are you feeling? Are you nervous? You're usually the optimist of the group.
I am nervous. It's just after that last game, I don't know how you can be super like positive going into this. Who knows what's going to happen? The offensive line obviously is the biggest question mark. The cold might actually benefit them more because they got a great running back. They got a great running game. They're probably just going to dive into that. And I'd say I'm confident because they probably feels like he's coaching for his job, but he should have felt like that against Scum. So
he might have felt like that against Scum might be the problem.
Yeah, getting in his own way, that type of thing. I hope we aren't trying to put a square peg in a round hole is like we did against Scum, because it's going to be a long day because I'm going to be there, like you mentioned. But I don't know. It could go a million different ways, but I do have confidence that we're going to go a little bit off the normal game plan that we've seen last couple games. We might actually sling it around a little bit, hopefully.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. And what I'll say about the home field advantage thing, I do think it's probably being overstated, especially since the media is running off with one quote off Ross Bjork. That was just something that's asked of him on a radio show. So he kind of had to say something like that. And like Casey, I believe, brought up the Georgia game in Atlanta a few years ago. Everybody's like, oh, Ohio State's going to take it over down there. It's actually going to be like 60-40, 50-50. And it wasn't at all. It was clearly an advantage for Georgia. I think that's what's going to happen Saturday. But we talked about this before, or Jason and I did. I was almost hoping we'd be away. It's definitely better to be at home in a true home environment. But the pressure that this fan base can put on this team if they start out slow, and they put it on them against Michigan. The Boo Birds were out in the first half. Like, they were out pretty quickly. And we weren't even losing yet. I don't think we tied it like around at the half. It could get very nasty in there. It could turn into a non-home field advantage. But that would be something interesting. But I'm telling you, everybody right now, if you're going to the game, you should be 100% behind Ohio State. Yell your hearts out. There's no reason to put that crap on them right away. Like, yeah, if they get down 20 in the second half, sure, boo them out of the building. But if it's a close game in the first half and we're struggling on offense, guess what? That's a really good effing defense we're playing against this week. And that's where I'm going to start out. There, statistically, Tennessee is the only team in the country with a top 10 offense and top 10 defense. Number 4 defense in the country, both scoring and in yards given up. They run the ball really well, like you said. Their passing game leaves a lot to be desired. And if you've watched them play, it's because while their quarterback, Iamaliva, very athletic, tall, throws a great ball. But they're all rockets. There's like no touch on them. It's like watching a very athletic Joe Milton play, who was there last year. So that's what hinders their offense most of the time. But they're very fast paced too on offense. Going against our defense, do you think they can wear us out since we don't rotate a lot? Or does the cold weather maybe slow them down a little bit?
No, yeah, it's going to be, like I said about Michigan, like being the first down, being crucial, and as if we can hold them to third and longs. They're 7th in the country in third down efficiency rating. They convert about 48% of the time on fourth down. We're about like 40th in the country. We convert like 42% of the time. So they're a pretty efficient offense when they get to third and manageable because they are a run heavy team. I think they average 230 yards a game on the ground, which is like top 5 in the country. So they are who they are. They have that identity behind that good offensive line and that good running back. The cold weather is really only going to help them with that regard in their running games, and they can just stick to their identity there. The defense is going to really, I think they're going to have to rotate in if they're going to want to consistently stop the run and keep guys fresh on the defensive line, unless our offense can sustain drives and give our defense a break. If it's like the Michigan game again, then we're going to have to rotate guys in.
Yeah, I am a little bit worried about that, but our defense, I trust them wholeheartedly, but just like the Scum game, we put them in terrible positions all game long. We're playing the field position battle. They drive down the field, we turn them over, and we can't be doing that anymore. We can't be freaking fielding a kickoff and starting a drive on the 6-yard line. That can't happen. But I do trust the defense. That is the edge that I think we have in this game, and that's the one thing I'm hanging my hat on, that we can pull it off.
We have shown some struggles, though, against running quarterbacks when they incorporate them into like a power part of the running game. And even like the Dylan Gabriel hit us with the read option there for a long touchdown run. That does scare me a little bit in this game. He's not like the most aggressive runner, but like his stats, 89 for 311, but he's been sacked 24 times for 107-yard losses. So it's really like 65 for 418, which is about 6 yards a carry. That's pretty nice. Definitely something we have to keep our eye on. Obviously, Dylan Sampson, though, at running back is who we have to shut down. If we're going to win this game, and Jason's right, you got to put him in third and long. We have to win first and second down. Because also, I think their speed, their tempo is what helps them a lot on third and fourth down. They just go, go, go. And so I think that's like a guaranteed yard or two if you need it.
Yeah. A lot of times when you have these like young quarterbacks come in, they struggle to get into the red zone, and that's where Tennessee's Achilles heel has been all year long. They're 88th in the country in red zone efficiency. That's not good. I think we're like around 30 or 35, somewhere in there. They're not really good in the red zone. So if we can do the bend but don't break method, I mean, they didn't really break against Michigan. We just bad situations all game long. That's going to be another key in this game, is getting down to the red zone and holding them to field goals. And like I said, this is going to be on our offense to win this game. Point being, Will Howard's going to have to win this game for us.
Yeah, and the defense, I think they can hold up. Statistically, they're trying to run the ball with Sampson, who's not a big guy, so he's not going to like push the pile. Or they want to throw to their tight end in the red zone, because like their leading receiver, it's all deep ball stuff. Deontay Thornton, he's averages 26 yards a catch and has 6 touchdowns. No other receivers on their team have more than 2. Tight end has 4 touchdowns and on only 21 catches. So that's who they want to throw to in the red zone. They're trying to play action it. And Iamaleava only has 1 touchdown run, even though he's this athletic quarterback. He's not a threat in the red zone. They don't seem to want to run him there. And I don't think he's like the most natural runner out of like the read option type stuff. I think he's better just kind of making things happen on a broken down play from the games I've watched. Now, our offense against their defense, though, as we were talking about there, as you started to talk about with Will Howard, one thing I want to say about him this week is he can't pull the Will Howards. He can't have those 2 or 3 just stupid plays where he looks like he's a senior, a 5th-year or 6th-year senior. I don't know how old he is. He can't have any of those picks like he had against Michigan where he's just staring down, sees the receiver covered and says, F it, I'm throwing it. We can't have that, because the offensive line, I don't care really what they do to shuffle it. I don't think they're going to be super effective, especially against this D-line. They're 4th or 2nd in the country in yards allowed per carry. They have a great edge rusher in Pierce. He's going to be a top 20 pick in the draft, probably top 15. Leads the nation in pressure percentage, has 7.5 sacks. It's going to be tough to have our 2 guards that are playing tackle block him one-on-one to begin with. And then running the ball, they're not – a lot is being made about how big their D tackles are, but they are not the same. They are not on the same level as Michigan. So we should have a little more success in the middle there. But I don't know, 6 different combination we're going to have on the O-line. I don't really care what they put out there. I won't think we're going to just push them around whatsoever.
Yeah. that's clearly the biggest question coming in. If we can somehow push them, I think we're going to dominate. But I don't see that happening because I'm on the fence with whether I want them to shuffle guys around at all, because the whole point of that position is getting continuity with each other, and we just keep moving guys around. Now you're talking about playing Padilla, who's literally never started a game in his life. Like, I don't know how I feel about that.
Can't be worse. He cannot be worse than Hinsman was. Hinsman had like a 14 PFF rating against Michigan. Like,
he had.
I could have something about that.
I'm just expecting a lot more like slants or just pitches to the outside, maybe some little bit of trickeration going on. I do not want to see 20 carries up the middle again. I'm expecting we won't.
Yeah, their defensive line in particular is kind of like ours, where they don't seem to get a lot of sacks. Pierce being the lone exception there. He's legit edge rusher. What they are very good at as a defense as a whole is getting tackles for loss, is keeping everything in front of them, and like they won't blitz and go out of their way to create pressure. They're just naturally gifted up front to kind of rush for and contain. They're 7th in the country in tackles for loss, so they're going to try to just keep everything ahead of them. So, like I said, I don't see this being a game where we're going to win them on the ground. I literally think Will Howard is going to have to – we're going to have to pass the ball to win. I don't see us having a good running game at all. I mean, if we do, hey, I'm all for it, and maybe it's signs of things to come that they've worked on some things, but I really don't like the way that this is going and our offensive line, how they looked at against Michigan, going up against this defensive line back-to-back games. Like I said, it's going to be, I think, the passing game.
Yeah, and they're going to have to make some plays down the field too, which we didn't even try against Michigan. Like, we tried a couple times and drew pass interference penalties. That's what we're going to have to do. Let number 4 go make a play. Let JJ make a play. Show that he's physically probably the most talented receiver in the country already. And then hit Ibuka underneath. But it's going to be hard. Like you said, they only blitz 4. They only take rush with 4. So they're going to be dropping 7. And we're probably going to have to help out wherever Pierce lines up. So we're going to be running 4-man routes against 7 guys, 3-man routes against 7 guys. And it's not going to be the easiest thing in the world. So a lot points to this being a very low-scoring game. The spread is 7. The over-under is 47.5. I like the under a lot, except for Tennessee's pace is so high that it could lead to a little bit of higher scoring game. But I don't think Day's going to want, like, do you think Day changes how we've been? Kind of like he did against Georgia a couple of years ago. Do we see the Georgia Day that just kind of let it loose and let it rip? Or do we see what we've seen out of Day the last few years in most big games where he just tightens up and tries to hope they figure out a way to win in the fourth quarter?
I hope to God we see Georgia Day. That's what it's going to take to make. I mean, everything's on the table. Like, we could look like crap and get blown out this weekend or in a week, or we could potentially win it all. Who knows? That's just how the playoff is this year. But it's going to take Georgia Day to give us a shot. I mean, the way he coached against the scum game and just in general, when he tightens up, we have no chance. So I hope he airs it out. I hope he just says, screw it, and my receivers are better than your defensive backs. Go.
What do you think we see, Hans?
I hope he's methodical in his play calling. Like, hell, throw Jeremiah in the backfield back there. Get him involved. Like, what you see, like, what the 49ers do with Debo, what you see with like the Giants, and what you see when they have this premier superstar on the outside, and you struggle to get the ball in their hands because the other team's going to double them and try to shade them over the top of the safety. Just get the ball in their hands and let them try to make a play. The Packers do that with Jaden Reed. Just these guys, just get the ball in their hands, and if he gets 5 yards on a carry to the outside, that'll open something up on the other end somewhere else down the line. Like, you just got to keep them off balance and throw whatever you have to do at them, and just get that ball in the hands of the playmakers. And that does not include Quinshon Judkins. That includes everybody else other than him. I think we got to get everybody else going before Quinshon. Quinshon's not the driver of this offense. It's everybody else. And that's where I think this offense fails to go, is when we try to be something that we're not.
Creativity will be key. Something we did not see at all against Michigan is some creativity. And we can't rely on special teams. I don't even want to talk about it. We can't rely on them to win us a game. So it's I don't know much about Tennessee special teams, but I know I don't trust ours.
I do. They have one of the best punt returners in the country. He has the most punt return yards this season, like averaging like 15. He's averaging like 16 yards per punt return. He's a pretty fast guy. So they might be able to flip field position. If we were just trying to play the field position game, he can switch it in an instant. And obviously, we all know about Fielding. See if that's going to be, we're going to find out right away. That's going to be a huge kick. If it's whatever field goal he comes out there to kick, like if he misses it, that's where stuff could go. If he misses that, that's going to be a big moment in the game.
I think it'll be interesting to see how much trust Day has in him. Like if we're on the 20-yard line or something, and it's like 4th and 3, like is he going to kick the field goal? Or is he going to say, screw it? I've seen this guy miss 2 cakewalk kicks. Like I trust my dude's getting 3 yards. I think that's going to be big. We'll find out pretty early, I think.
I mean, maybe kicking's hard. I'm not going to say I can do it, but it is definitely harder to do it in the cold at 8 p.m. on Saturday when the high during the game is going to be in the low 20s. Mm-hmm. He's going to have to make that call or to see how he's kicking on Friday in the cold. Like he should be out there kicking at night this week when it gets cold and see what the heck. Maybe he's just not good kicking in the cold. And if that's the case, then yeah, you have to go for it on 4th and short, no matter how close it is.
It's like high school all over again. The one thing I'll say about this game, first let's go ahead and put our predictions down on the game itself. The 7 points I think is too much. This is going to be too much of a defensive battle. I don't see a lot of ways that we score over 24 maximum. I don't think we get there at all unless we get some like pick sixes or something, which seems unlikely. They don't throw a lot of picks. So I'd say I do think we're the better team overall if we can just get out of our own damn way. If we come in confident and thinking I'm going to beat you, I'm going to beat, like the greatest speech I ever had as a player was before we played a team that was ranked 7th in the country in high school. And it was basically just saying, I will make the tackle when it's there. I will do my job and be successful. My teammate will next to me be successful. And it's just that simple. Like you just have to go out there with the confidence that you and the guy next to you is going to do your job and just play free from there. And you're going to be, and we almost won that game. Like we weren't even close. We were 5-5 team and we lost by 3 and had the lead almost the entire game. If we come out like that, I think we can win this game. And I think it's going to be low scoring. So I'm going to say 20-17 Buckeyes, but I'm not taking the cover.
You stole my score. I would hammer the under on this for sure. And
that is my favorite bet. Yeah.
I'm a little perplexed by the spread. I'm maybe it's too early for it to move, but I expected it to move down to like 4.5 or 5 or something like that. But since you said 20-17, I guess I'll say, that would be 2 field goals though, right?
Maybe a missed point or you go for 2. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's say 17-13, even lower. Good guys.
I think this game's going to be kind of similar to that Oklahoma game we saw with Tennessee earlier in the year when we thought it was going to be a high-scoring affair, and both teams came in there with Oklahoma's got a decent defense, and it ended up being a 25-15 game. I'm going to steal that score and say we win 25-15. I think, unless I'm remembering stuff wrong, usually after we lose these Michigan games, going into the postseason when we have something to play for, we kind of have a good rebound game. Not last year because guys opted out and stuff, and I kind of throw that Missouri game out the window. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how these guys respond to that gut-wrenching loss, and I think it's kind of indicative to see what kind of personality Ryan Day is instilling in his players. I think that's where you will actually see what type of program he has on Saturday. If these guys are actually tough and if they're pissed off about that loss and if they come out flat and stuff, then I think they've just given up on Ryan Day and they've bought into that and they've just given up on him. I think that this game is a make or break for Ryan Day. I think there's no way around it. I can understand why he's coming out and backing him and saying he'll be back next year, but you have got to look at how they respond this Saturday.
That's where I was going to go next, and I'm 100% in agreement with you. this game will be a referendum on Ryan Day's program. If they come out and like everybody wants to play for each other, all these guys that came back to beat Michigan and didn't get it done, but they want to play for each other, they want to play hard, and they go put out there and put out a good effort and win, then I think it's a good sign that we can probably at least give him one more year. Not that I want to, but it sounds like they're going to anyway, almost regardless. Unless we like get blown out Saturday, then I don't think there'll be any way around it. He might not make it out of the stadium, but if they don't, how can you? The players have lost faith in him and each other. I could see a situation where the guys that aren't part of that 2021 recruiting class resenting them above them for never getting it really done and holding and them not being able to see the field. And I'm sure a lot of them thought they'd be on the field by now because they thought the Emeka Egbuka would be gone and Jack Sawyer would be gone and all that. So it could really, I mean, it's going to be a very interesting psychological game from the fans to the players to everything that's going around, because it could be a very weird atmosphere and a very weird game. And you're right, if they can get them, and this is one good thing though, if they can figure out a way to win this game and do so relatively, like you said, if they win by 10, I think Oregon's the best team in the country, but I'll give us a shot against almost anybody if we can win that game. Because what we do poorly is what Tennessee does well. If we can figure out a way to hide those weaknesses, then maybe we can do it the whole way.
It's all about getting over that initial hump and getting that belief. And I mean, they have that belief if they get to that Oregon game. I'm not trying to get too far ahead of us, but if they get to that, they were 1 point away at Oregon. This is going to be at the Rose Bowl, granddaddy them all. Like, this is just going to just get them that belief if they can get over that hump, and that's where the coach gets them over that hump.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm the same way. If they can pull this off, they're going to have all the confidence. Then you're not going to have to worry about cold weather the rest of the way either.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to be hurting us more than our opponents, apparently.
Green Bay Packer syndrome.
Yeah. So, but honestly, I think regardless of the outcome, Day's going to be back, whether I want him to be or not. Which I'm actually in the camp of getting rid of him now. But from what I've been reading, I think they're just not going to get rid of him no matter what. But remove all doubt, like he's been saying all year. Leave no doubt that he's not going to be fired and just blow doors off and move on to Oregon.
It'll definitely be interesting. But you two, I'm wishing you don't get any frostbite, drink lots of hot cocoa, or drink lots of beer. Get that beer coat on. I know Casey will. Probably not Jason, though.
There's a gingerbread running down onto the football field.
I will know who it is because Tim Saunders is not going to the game. But for the Haas and the Dire Wolf, I'm just Matt. Like, subscribe, comment. We hit over 1K on the Michigan video, which was awesome, even though it was most of you just talking shit to us, but that's okay. We can handle it. But yeah, keep the momentum rolling for us too, and we will see you guys next time.
Hey guys! Oh, big gulps, huh? All right. Well, see you later.